I have a friend who worked in the media, and they were like, just like, kneecap Bernie.
Why were they going to kneecap Bernie?
I don't know. It's like there's definitely something going on where like certain corporate media companies have certain candidates they kind of want to tip the scales for a little bit, and then people that they want to like tip it against.
Well, they thought that Bernie was going to get in the way of Hillary winning. Is that the idea?
Yeah. I mean, they were in the Hillary camp for sure.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't just the media; that was also the DNC, which is now on the record. So now, happily, certainly the DNC has turned a totally different leaf, where the DNC is like, we're not going to do anything that like interferes with anyone's prospects.
Well, what they did was a disaster.
Yeah,
a disaster in terms of public image too.
Yeah, it was both substantively and like perception-wise a disaster for them. So this time, I got to say, and that team is turned over almost entirely. Like it's almost totally different people.
Right.
And then the media, we have the sense that they're still feeling out who they're going to try and put the thumb on the scale for. So
Bernie is still running though, right?
It looks like he's running. Yeah.
You want to know something that's really stupid, but it changed my opinion of him? He was being grilled by someone at the airport with a camera, and he was pretending to talk on the phone, but you could tell he wasn't really on the phone. The phone was white, and I saw that, and I was like, ew, you can't do that. You can't do that. You could say, I'm not giving impromptu interviews, thank you very much, and keep walking. Like, if you want to interview me, do it through the correct channels. But he didn't do that. He pretended to be on the phone. It's a weird thing, because if you're willing to do that, like that's just deceptive.
Especially if you can actually see the deception, which
yeah,
I mean,
you can see it in the video. You can see the video. The fucking phone is not on. It's like you can see his text messages while he's and he's like, and the guy's saying to him, "You're not on the phone. I can tell you're not on the phone." It's like, and he keeps walking. It's like, I know that's a stupid thing but it's like, huh.
We all suss out details about different people in different ways, and like, it's like, I think one reason I'm so grateful for this opportunity is it's like, like you actually can get a sense of different people in different environments, and it does end up impacting your perception. So, I mean, people made decisions on much lesser data points than that.
Oh, sure.
Let's put it that way.
Remember, what the fuck's his name from Vermont? Who, Howard Dean?
The Dean Scream, man. The freaking
New Hampshire? Is that what he's from?
He was from Vermont.
It was Vermont, yeah. That Scream killed him, sank him.
Do you remember the Chappelle Show parody? The Chappelle Show parody of that was hysterical.
That's funny. But the fact that it was just because it was allowed, like, as a person who works in front of audiences a lot, when you're yelling into a microphone, like, you hear, like, especially if you don't have monitors in front of you, what you hear is like everything. You hear the crowd screaming, you hear everything. And if you're yelling into that microphone, you're not realizing what it sounds like as a recording. But with him, it's like, yeah! And that was it. One scream. Imagine that one scream literally changed the course of that man's life. One impulsive moment.
It might have changed the course of the nation's history.
It's crazy. I don't know if that would happen today. I think, especially post-Trump, one thing that has happened is we're willing to forgive so much more. I mean,
in some ways, yeah. In some ways, no, man. I mean, I feel like, like some people more forgiving than others for different things.
For sure. Different things. Yeah, there's certainly, it varies.
But it would be interesting to imagine what the Dean Scream would result in today. Hopefully, I'm not the person that tests it out.
Yeah, don't scream. Please don't scream. So what's next now? You're trying to elevate your profile. You're trying to make people aware of your platform and how you're running. What is next?
It's good fun, man. I'm enjoying running for president more than I thought I would.
That's a great thing to hear.
Yeah, like so one thing is that when you talk to Americans in like rural Iowa or Manchester, New Hampshire, it's like they're really good people. Like, it's like the stuff that you might imagine is like, oh, people. No, it's like really good, honest, genuine people just trying to make their lives better. People I really love hanging out with are union guys. Like hanging with the truckers was fun. Hanging out, I hung out with these union metal workers the other day in New Hampshire. I was like, hey, any like robots going on like here in your fields? And then one of them was like, yeah, actually, like we used to take 5 to 8 guys to bend this rebar to reinforce a bridge. Now they bring in a robot and it does it overnight. And then they're like, And they're like, hey, good for you guys. You don't have to do this. And then we're like, we just lost a freaking day's pay. They're like, why are we supposed to be happy about this?
Right.
So then when I go in, I talk to them about what's going on in the economy. They're like, oh man, yeah, that's like a real problem. And unions have been losing for years. Like they all know it. Like, membership's gone in half. So just on the campaign trail, making the case to different people. I was on the Daily Show last week, and that's going to film pretty soon. The next big benchmark for the campaign is the Democratic primary debates in June, where they're going to bring all the candidates up. And this is something the DNC happily seems like they're being really, really open about, which it's not like, hey, you need to, like have particular things. So I'm very confident that we'll be on that debate stage, and then we can just keep on making the case to the American people.
When you're going to do something like that, how do you prepare? Do you have someone throw fake questions at you and you practice them and practice the answers? Do you work with a coach? Like, how are you going to do that?
For that, given the enormity of the occasion, I'm sure we will have something like that. But I want to double back on a conversation you had recently with a guy named Lawrence Lessig about campaign finance reform. And like there are all these interrelated problems in our society, and in my opinion, the automation wave is like driving a lot of them because it's making people less functional. It's making people less able to focus on the big problems in the future. And then part of it is that our political system is held captive by rich corporations.